Welcome. Today, I want you to sit down, take a deep breath, and listen carefully, because what I'm about to share with you might be the most important English story you ever hear. I'm not saying this to be dramatic. I'm saying it because I lived it. And if you're struggling with speaking English, this story could change your life. Chapter 1. The Years of Silent Learning. I had spent years learning English. Books, grammar rules, vocabulary lists, tenses, exercises. I had notebooks full of written answers. I could solve grammar tests with 95% accuracy. But when someone asked me a simple question like, "Where are you from?" my mind would go blank. I would panic. I would feel nervous. My heart would beat faster, and my sentences would come out broken. From, Pakistan. And in that moment, all my grammar knowledge, everything I had memorized, disappeared. Have you ever felt like that? You study for hours. You know so much. But when it's time to speak, your brain freezes, your mouth refuses to work, and your confidence falls apart. I remember sitting alone one night after a long English class. I looked at my textbook, and I asked myself, why can't I speak? Why can't I talk freely even after all this hard work? What's wrong with me? Chapter 2. The Endless Cycle. Here's what my daily routine used to look like. Wake up early. Revise tenses, past, present, future. Memorize vocabulary. 20 new words a day. Do exercises from grammar books. Watch English lessons on YouTube. Translate Urdu sentences to English. I did this for months. For years. I was disciplined. I was motivated. I was doing everything I was supposed to do. But still, when I had to speak, I felt like a beginner. I could write essays. I could understand English movies. But when it came to real conversation, I couldn't say even one sentence naturally. My grammar was perfect, on paper. But my speech, it was slow, awkward, broken, and the worst part, I thought something was wrong with me. I thought maybe I wasn't smart enough. Maybe I didn't have the language talent. Maybe I just couldn't speak like others. But I was wrong. Chapter 3. The Grammar Trap. Let me tell you something that took me years to understand. Grammar is important, but grammar is not the key to speaking fluently. Wait, what? Yes, let me say it again. Grammar is not the key to speaking fluently. And yet, every English class I had ever taken told me, learn tenses first, then study passive voice, then conditional sentences, then reported speech. Then you can speak. But guess what? Speaking doesn't work like that. Imagine teaching a child to speak their first language. Would you start with grammar rules? No, you'd talk to them. You'd let them listen. You'd let them try, even if they make mistakes. But with English, I was taught to wait until everything was perfect. Don't speak until you know the rules. Don't speak until you master the tenses. Don't speak unless your sentence is correct. And this is where I got trapped for years. I kept waiting to be perfect. And because of that, I never started. Chapter 4. The Fear of Mistakes. Every time I opened my mouth to speak, a voice in my head whispered, What if you make a mistake? What if your grammar is wrong? What if they laugh at you? And so I stayed silent. I didn't practice speaking, because I was afraid of being wrong, and the more I avoided speaking, the worse I became. It's like learning to swim by reading a book. You might know the strokes, the breathing, the theory, but unless you jump into the water, you will never learn to swim. And I was drowning in grammar books, but I had never jumped into the water. Chapter 5. The Breaking Point. One day, something happened that changed everything. I was at a small family gathering. My cousin brought her friend, an English teacher. He asked me a simple question. "What do you like to do in your free time?" And I froze. I wanted to answer. I knew the words, but they just wouldn't come. I felt my face turning red. Everyone looked at me, waiting, and all I could say was, I reading books, like, I like. I wanted to disappear. That night, I cried alone in my room. I felt broken, embarrassed, frustrated. And I made a decision. I looked at my shelf full of grammar books, and I said to myself, "This isn't working. I'm done with this. I need a new way." Chapter 6. I quit grammar. Yes, you read that right. I quit grammar. I stopped studying rules. I stopped doing grammar exercises. I stopped obsessing over tenses and conditionals. At first I was scared. I thought my English would get worse. I thought I would become completely lost. But something amazing happened. Without grammar books, without worksheets, I started doing something different. I started speaking. Chapter 7. My Little Experiment. I created a new plan for myself. Every day I would watch 10 minutes of English conversation videos, repeat what I heard, record myself, listen to my voice, try again. No grammar, no textbooks, just real English, in real life. At first, I made mistakes. He go to market yesterday. I can goes there. She no want help. But you know what? I didn't care. Because for the first time in my life, I was speaking. And slowly, those mistakes began to disappear. Not because I studied more grammar, but because I practiced more speaking. Chapter 8. The Shift. In just 2 weeks, I noticed a change. I was no longer afraid to speak. I wasn't perfect, but I was confident. I made small talk with strangers. I replied to comments online. I started thinking in English. I didn't stop because of grammar mistakes. I didn't freeze in fear. Why? Because now I understood the truth. You don't need to master grammar to speak English. You need to practice speaking imperfectly, courageously, consistently. Chapter 9. Speak first, fix later. Here's the biggest lesson I learned. Fluency comes from speaking, not studying. Let me repeat that. Fluency comes from speaking, not studying. If you wait until you feel ready, if you wait until your grammar is perfect, you'll never start. Start speaking now. Make mistakes. Learn from them. Keep going. That's how I finally became free. Conclusion. From silent to speaking. Today, I can speak English confidently. I host English discussions. I record English videos. I even teach others. And I do it without fear. Not because I'm perfect, not because I know every grammar rule, but because I started speaking without waiting. If you're reading this and struggling to speak, please remember, you don't need to know all the grammar. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start speaking. And this was just the beginning. In part 2, I'll tell you exactly how quitting grammar changed everything for me, and how you can follow the same path to speak English freely and naturally. Part 2. When I stopped focusing on grammar, people thought I was crazy. My friends said, "You'll forget everything you studied. You'll sound wrong. No one will understand you." Even I was afraid. But what happened next changed my life. In this part of the story, I will show you how quitting grammar helped me unlock the real path to fluency, and how you can do the same. Chapter 1. Breaking the Old Belief. For years, I believed this one sentence with all my heart. To speak good English, you must know perfect grammar. It was like a law, a rule written in stone. So I followed it like a good student. But the more grammar I studied, the less confident I became. Why? Because grammar made me overthink. Every time I wanted to speak, I would ask myself, should I say has or have? Is it did go or went? Am I using the past perfect or present perfect? And while I was thinking, the moment was already gone. Speaking is fast, speaking is natural, but grammar is slow and analytical. It's like trying to dance by calculating every step. Move right foot 12 cm, turn 37 degrees left, pause, 0.8 seconds. You'll never enjoy the dance. You'll just feel confused. That's what grammar was doing to me. It was making me freeze. Chapter 2. The Wall of Fear. Grammar created a wall between me and real English. Imagine this. You're at a restaurant. A tourist beside you drops their menu and says, "Excuse me, do you know what this dish is?" Now your brain starts spinning. Is this a question in present simple or continuous? Do I say, "It has chicken," or "it have chicken"? Wait, is this uncountable or countable noun? And while you're thinking, you say nothing. The moment passes, the opportunity disappears, and your confidence drops. Again. This is how I lived for years. I had the knowledge, but I couldn't use it. Until I realized something. You can't fix speaking problems by studying more grammar. You fix speaking problems by speaking. Chapter 3. My 7-day grammar-free experiment. So I made a small promise to myself. For 7 days, I will stop all grammar study. No books, no rules. I will only focus on listening, repeating, and speaking. It was a test, an experiment. I had nothing to lose. I already felt stuck. So here's what I did. Day 1. Listen and repeat. I found a 5-minute conversation video on YouTube. I played one sentence at a time and repeated it. I didn't worry about grammar. I focused on rhythm and tone. "Hey, how's it going?" I repeated, "Hey, how's it going?" Not, "Why is it going?" and not "goes." Just repeat. Like a child learning to speak. Day 2. Record myself. I picked 5 sentences I use often and recorded them. Hi, my name is Samreen. I'm learning English. I live in Pakistan. I love reading books. What do you like to do? Then I listened to my voice and fixed pronunciation, not grammar, not tenses, just speaking. Day 3. Talk to the mirror. I stood in front of the mirror and spoke to myself. Hello, Samreen. How was your day? It was nice. I cooked food, watched a movie. I made mistakes. I laughed. But I spoke. And that's what mattered. Chapter 4. What changed in just 1 week? After just 7 days, something shifted. I still made mistakes. But I spoke faster. I still forgot words. But I didn't panic. I felt more relaxed. I started enjoying the process. Why? Because I wasn't afraid anymore. I realized that fluency is not about perfection. It's about connection. If someone understands you, you're communicating. And that's fluency. Let me ask you, would you rather speak with perfect grammar but say nothing, or speak with some mistakes but express your thoughts? The second one wins every time. Chapter 5. Real conversations. Real growth. I decided to test my progress. I joined a free online speaking group. In the past, I never had the courage. But now I thought, what's the worst that can happen? In the meeting, the host asked, "Please introduce yourself." It was my turn. I smiled, turned on my mic and said, "Hello, my name is Samreen. I am from Pakistan. I love learning languages. I start to speak English recently without focusing on grammar. I hope to learn with all of you." Guess what? Nobody laughed. Nobody corrected me. They said, "Nice to meet you, Samreen. Wow, you speak really well." And in that moment, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Proud. I didn't need to be perfect to be respected. I just needed to be brave. Chapter 6. Why grammar can kill your confidence. Let's talk about something important. Grammar is not the enemy, but how we use grammar can hurt us. Here's how grammar kills confidence. 1. You overthink. Every sentence becomes a puzzle. 2. You delay speaking. You wait until you're ready. 3. You fear mistakes. You think, what if I'm wrong? 4. You avoid real conversations because you don't feel prepared, and slowly your confidence dies. But when you stop focusing on grammar, something magical happens. You start using the English you already know, and that's enough to build fluency. Chapter 7. My new way of learning. After that week, I made a decision. I will not study grammar unless I enjoy it. I will not wait to be perfect. I will speak every day, even with mistakes. Here's what my new English routine looked like. Old method, new method. Memorize grammar rules. Watch and repeat real conversations. Study tenses and structures. Practice thinking in English. Translate everything. Describe my day in English. Avoid speaking. record myself daily, fear mistakes, celebrate progress. And guess what? In just 3 months, my English changed completely. Not because I became a grammar expert, but because I became a confident speaker. Chapter 8. I rewired my brain. Do you know how children learn to speak? They listen, they copy, they try, they fail, and they try again. That's what I did. I stopped using my brain like a grammar checker. I started using it like a language engine. Not, is this grammatically correct? But, does this feel natural? That small shift changed everything. Chapter 9. Speak first, learn later. The biggest lesson I want to share with you is this. Speak first, learn grammar later. When you start speaking first, you get comfortable with real English. You stop fearing mistakes. You build fluency naturally. Grammar begins to make sense after you speak. That's the secret. That's what nobody told me in school. Chapter 10. I found my voice. Today, I speak English every day. I talk to friends. I create videos. I coach others who feel stuck. And I do it all with joy. I'm not perfect, but I'm free. And it all began when I quit grammar. Not forever, but long enough to find my voice. Conclusion. What you can do. If you're reading this and still feel afraid to speak, still waiting for the right time, still stuck in grammar books, here's what I want you to do. 1. Stop studying grammar for 7 days. 2. Listen to real conversations. 3. Repeat what you hear. 4. Speak aloud, every day. 5. Record yourself. 6. Accept your mistakes. 7. Keep going. You don't need to be perfect to start. You just need to start. And in part 3, I will share my daily routine that helped me train my brain, my mouth, and my confidence to speak English naturally, without any teacher, without going abroad. Part 3. Let me tell you something powerful. If someone had given me this routine 1 year ago, I would have cried with happiness. Because this is not a routine based on fear, grammar books, or feeling not enough. This is a real, simple, daily routine that helped me go from silent to speaking English fluently. Even though I wasn't perfect, even though I made mistakes, even though I had no teacher, all I had was a decision to speak, a heart full of courage, and a routine that worked, without grammar stress. And today, I want to share this routine with you. Let me take you step by step through what I did and what you can do every single day. Chapter 1. The Power of a Simple Routine. Before this routine, I used to wake up feeling confused. What should I study today? Jump between 5 different grammar videos. Read vocabulary lists without using them. Feel tired and still. Not speak. That method left me frustrated and silent. Then I changed everything. I created a daily routine focused on speaking, without grammar rules. Here's the structure that changed my life. I call it the 3P method. P1. Prepare your mind. P2. Practice your voice. P3. Perform without fear. Let me break it down for you. Chapter 2, P1. Prepare your mind. The first step of my day had nothing to do with books or apps. It had to do with my mindset. Every morning I reminded myself, fluency is not perfection. Fluency is expression. I would repeat this out loud, with confidence. Then I did this simple 10-minute activity. Activity: think in English. I picked 5 common thoughts I usually say in my language, and I translated them into simple English. Examples: Mujhe pani chahiye. I want water. Main thak gayi hoon. I'm tired. Aaj mausam acha hai. The weather is nice today. I didn't worry about grammar. I just focused on thinking in English like it was my native language. Slowly, this became a habit. And you know what? My mind stopped translating. English became something I could feel, not just analyze. Chapter 3, P2. Practice your voice. Now comes the heart of the routine. Speaking practice. Remember, I was learning without grammar, so this practice had to be active, natural, and real. Step 1. Listen and repeat. 15 minutes. I chose short English conversation videos, real-life dialogues, not grammar lectures. One sentence at a time, I would pause the video, repeat the sentence out loud, match the speaker's speed and emotion. Examples: Hey, how's it going? Not bad, just getting some coffee. Wanna join me? At first, I felt shy, but slowly, I got faster, smoother, more expressive. This method is called shadowing, and it's how I trained my brain to speak naturally without memorizing grammar rules. Step 2. Record yourself, 10 minutes. After repeating, I recorded myself saying similar lines. Instead of, "What is your name?" I'd say, "Hi, I'm Zara. What's your name?" Instead of copying exactly, I started creating my own sentences. Simple, but real. Then I played back my recording and smiled, even when I made mistakes, because every recording was proof. I'm speaking, I'm improving, I'm not stuck anymore. Chapter 4. Talk to yourself. This is the activity that truly changed my fluency. It sounds silly, but it's powerful. Activity: mirror talk, 10 to 15 minutes. I stood in front of the mirror and talked like I was speaking to a friend. I told stories. I shared my day. I asked myself questions. Example: Hi Zara, how was your day? Oh, it was really good. I went to the market, bought some vegetables. It was hot outside. I didn't worry about tenses. I didn't stop to check grammar. I just spoke. And soon my brain started trusting my mouth. Speaking became natural. I stopped being afraid. I started having fun. Chapter 5. The Practice Journal. Every evening before sleep, I opened my journal and did this. Wrote 3 sentences in English about my day, underlined any words I didn't know how to say. Searched simple translations only when necessary. Example: Today I cooked lunch. It was delicious. I watched a movie after that. Over time, my writing became better. And because I was writing what I actually spoke, I remembered it better. This was grammar-free learning from real usage. Chapter 6. My 7-day speaking cycle. To make sure I never got bored or stuck, I created a 7-day speaking cycle. Each day focused on a specific topic. No grammar, just real-life English. Day topic: Speaking. Focus 1. Introductions. My name is. I live in. I like to. 2. My daily routine. I wake up at. I eat. I study. 3. Food and cooking. I like spicy food. I cooked rice. 4. My hobbies. I love reading. I enjoy walking. 5. Emotions and feelings. I feel happy. I'm a little tired. 6. Past memories. Last week, I visited my uncle. 7. Future plans. Tomorrow, I will go shopping. Every day, I picked the topic and practiced. Speaking in the mirror. Recording a voice message, talking to myself out loud. No grammar books. No exercises. Just speaking. And guess what? After 1 month, people started noticing. Your English sounds natural. You speak so confidently now. You're improving fast. Chapter 7. Mistakes were my teachers. When I quit grammar, I started making more mistakes. And you know what? That's when I started learning faster than ever. I said, "She don't like it." Wrong. Then I heard someone say, "She doesn't like it." Correct. So I corrected myself. Not from a book, but from real exposure. I stopped fearing mistakes. I started listening more, repeating more, and learning from what I heard, not what I memorized. This was the natural learning process, just like how babies learn. Chapter 8. How I made English fun. Speaking without grammar rules gave me freedom, but it also gave me joy. I stopped studying like a tired student. I started learning like a child playing a game. Here's how I made it fun. I pretended to be a news anchor. Good evening. Today we had rain in Lahore. I acted like a character in a movie. Don't worry, I'll save you. I sang English songs loudly, with confidence, and many wrong lyrics. I even recorded fake interviews with myself. This playfulness removed my fear. And guess what? When you enjoy English, your brain remembers faster. When you fear English, your brain shuts down. So choose fun, choose joy. Chapter 9. You don't need grammar. You need rhythm. One of the biggest lessons I learned. English is not about grammar. English is about rhythm. Let me explain. When native speakers talk, they don't think, "What's the third conditional? Is this the past participle?" They speak in rhythm, chunks, and flow. Examples. I don't know. I don't know. Let me see. Let me see. Give me a sec. Give me a second. So I focused on copying the rhythm, not the rules. And guess what? People started saying, "You sound natural. You speak like us." That was the biggest win for me. Chapter 10. My confidence routine. 1 minute. Every day, before I ended my practice, I stood up straight, looked in the mirror and said, "I am a speaker. I am learning. I'm not perfect, and that's okay. Every day, I am growing stronger." I smiled and thanked myself for trying. Because I believe this. Confidence doesn't come from being perfect. Confidence comes from showing up, even when you're scared. Conclusion. This routine can be yours. 2. Everything I've shared in this part. This isn't just my routine. This can be your routine too. No expensive course, no grammar books, no teacher, just you, your voice, and your courage. If you follow this, think in English daily. Speak to yourself out loud. Listen, repeat, and record. Practice real-life topics. Accept mistakes. Build rhythm and joy. You will become fluent, naturally, powerfully, confidently. You will speak English without fear, without grammar, without limits. In Part 4, I will share the final truth. How you can overcome your fears, keep growing even when you fail, and build a life of fluency, freedom, and self-love. Part 4. The day everything changed. From learner to leader. I still remember that morning as if it just happened. I was sitting in my room, my books open but untouched. A notebook filled with ideas, stories, and dreams written in broken English. I had come so far without grammar rules, but I was about to go even further. That day, something happened that changed my entire relationship with English forever. I was invited to speak. A local organization was hosting a community seminar on learning without limits. One of their members had seen my short English videos online, those little ones I had recorded nervously at first, without caring about grammar. He was impressed. He messaged me, "You're inspiring people. Would you like to speak at our event about how you learned English without grammar?" My heart stopped. Me? Speak in front of a crowd, in English, without perfect grammar? But I had made a promise to myself long ago, never say no to growth. So I said yes. And that yes changed everything. The preparation without perfection. I didn't prepare a script with grammar rules. I didn't even worry about perfect tenses or advanced vocabulary. I just sat with my heart and wrote down my story, the real one. How I failed, how I hated English, how I felt humiliated for not speaking properly, how I started with simple words, how I learned to listen first, how I spoke without fear, even when I made mistakes. That was my message. Don't wait to speak perfect English. Speak imperfect English proudly. The speech that touched hearts. The day arrived. I stood on the stage, holding the microphone tightly. My legs were shaking. I looked at the audience, students, teachers, parents. They were all waiting for something inspiring. I took a deep breath and began. Hello, everyone. My name is Samreen, and I spoke English, without grammar. They laughed softly. A few leaned in. Some raised their eyebrows. I had their attention. I shared my journey, the same way I had shared it with you in these videos. And by the time I ended, people were clapping. Not because I was perfect, but because I was real. Because they saw hope in my mistakes, confidence in my broken sentences, inspiration in my honesty. Afterward, a girl came to me with tears in her eyes and said, "I thought I wasn't smart enough to speak English, but after hearing you, I feel I can do it too." That one sentence made every struggle worth it. The psychology of why it works. Let me share something powerful with you, something based on psychology. Our brain is designed to learn through meaning, not through rules. That's why children learn to speak their native language before they ever learn grammar. They hear it, repeat it, and use it in real life. That's what I did with English. I created emotional connections with English. I used real-life conversations, storytelling, music, and feelings, instead of memorizing tenses and passive voices. And it worked. Why? Because when your brain feels safe and connected, it remembers better. When you enjoy something, you repeat it more. And when you stop fearing mistakes, you grow faster. That's the real secret. Now I teach others. Today, I help others do what I did, not just with grammar books, but with heart. I teach people to speak first, to express, to share, to make mistakes and laugh. I have my own little English corner online where I post stories, tips and videos, like this one. And every time someone says, "You made me believe in myself," it fills my heart. You see, I'm not just teaching English. I'm teaching confidence. I'm teaching freedom. I'm teaching that you don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You can do it too. If you've been waiting for the perfect time, the perfect grammar, or the perfect accent before you speak, stop. The time is now. The grammar will come. The fluency will follow. But first, you have to begin. Start speaking. Start sharing. Start being beautifully imperfect. Because your message is more powerful than your mistakes. A final message to you. I spoke English without grammar. And today, I speak with courage, with clarity, and with a message. And you? You're just one brave step away from your own transformation. So take it. Don't wait. Speak. Even if you make mistakes. Even if your grammar is wrong. Even if your accent is different. Because the world doesn't need perfect English. It needs your voice.